My name's Supersnarff. I'm here to show you guys a guide today on some, talents and spec and everything working for Mythic Plus. I'm a Fire Mage. We're gonna make it happen. We do normally between 80 and 90k overall on most Mythic Pluses for the level that I'm at, and I think it'll help you guys out quite a bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at Fire Mage in the current patch. Right now is over 2200 Raider IO. Done several 15s, several 17s, several couple 18s. Shows you here what we got going down. Just to give you a little background, this character is 8 of 9 Mythic, or 8 of 12 Mythic, excuse me. And let's go ahead and get into this video. So what we got here, guys, is a Fire Mage, 473 equipped, 479 overall. The main things you're going to need for Mythic Plus, guys, is you're going to need ×3 of your Blaster Master. What that's going to do for you, it increases your mastery by 391 for 3 seconds, and this actually stacks. So if you have it 3 times, you're getting roughly 400 per stack. So it's 4, 8, 1200 mastery. Guys, mastery right now is massive for your ignites. Ignite is going to be your hands down biggest damage you're going to have inside of a Mythic Plus with cleave damage, boss damage, everything, etc. Ignite is such an amazing ability. What it's going to do is it's going to literally stack, and when it stacks, it's going to spread every 2 seconds to everyone around it. It's got to be within a short range, but it'll stack, spread, and you got to have that damage as high as possible. Once you're up there, I mean, guys, I've seen Ignite ticks as much as like 180k, 200k, and if you have that on 5 different characters that you're hitting, I mean, you're just doing insane amounts of damage. I've seen Fire Mages peak up to like 600, 700k AoE. At the level that I'm at. So let's go ahead and check out talents, and we will move further from that. So in the talents, you got your fire spec. Your main thing you're going to need is searching touch or searing touch. Basically, that's your scorch deals 150% increased damage. It's kind of at a 30%, so it's almost like your execute. So what that's going to do is you're going to crit, Pyroblast, crit, Pyroblast, and it's just guaranteeing that extra burst damage while you're killing something at the end. Also, you're going to need Rune of Power. Now, this is going to be one of your major abilities, guys, when you're bursting a boss, any massive pack of ads you're going to do, and I'll go into the rotation. But it basically adds 40% spell damage, guys. That's literally, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but who wants to do 40% more spell damage? That's huge, especially when you're bursting. Your Flame On ability, basically that reduces the cooldown of your Fire Blast by 2 seconds and increases your number of charges by 1. So now you'll have 3, and that is also a major ability for your combustion cooldown. And like I said, guys, I will go further into that rotation a little later in this video. Ice Ward, I picked this one literally because 2 charges. I don't know about you guys, I run over 40 corruption. So I'm always having those things from beyond coming out and attacking me, and nothing is worse than your healer yelling at you because you got murdered by your corruption. I pick Living Bomb also. After that, like I said, it's really good for AoE packs. I do not use a single target, but on an AoE pack, about 3 guys plus, I'll be throwing that on there. Now, another ability I use is Kindling instead of Meteor, guys. The reason I picked this is your Fireball, Pyroblast, and Fire Blast, all of your fire abilities, when they crit, reduces your maining cooldown of your combustion. So the build that I have currently goes all around combustion procs. Combustion is the biggest cooldown that you're going to have as a Fire Mage. Basically, when you're using combustion, it engulfs you into flames for 10 seconds, increasing your spell's critical chance by 100%, granting you mastery up to 50% of your critical strike stat. Guys, so the harder you hit, the bigger your ignite ticks. And ignite, if you guys have read into Fire Mage any more than this video, your mastery is basically benefiting your ignite all the way around. So it's a passive. Your target burns for an additional 57.4% over 9 seconds, and a total direct damage causes by Fireball, Fire Blast, Scorch, Pyroblast, Flame Strike. If this effect is reapplied, any remaining damage will be added to the new ignite. And like I said, every 2 seconds your ignite may spread to another target. So the higher mastery you have, the higher you're going to do damage and the more AoE you're going to provide. So Most people I know when they're first starting, they're going to probably be right around 20-ish% mastery. I am fully stacked corruption for mastery, guys. So I'm at 57% unbuffed, no food buffs, anything. So when you're going through your gear, you guys definitely want to get masterful. As a corruption stat, they have between 6, 9, and 12%. I'm running 12% on my bracers, 12% on my gloves, 9% on my belt, 9% on my legs, 12% on my boots, 12% on my weapon, 9% on my offhand, 9 on my rings, both my rings, and I'm actually running Balefire Branch specifically for Mythic Plus just for that extra 233 mastery. Guys, I can't stress enough, mastery is the most important stat you're going to need as a Fire Mage in Mythic Plus and for raiding. Pretty much you're a glass cannon doing as much damage burst as possible. So just keep that in mind. Now, another thing before I go into this target dummy, showing you guys a little bit of burst, what can happen is there's going to be some major gear that is kind of dependent for this class, and that's the only crutch with it is that it's very gear dependent. You're going to need your Hyper Thread wrist wraps. Guys, this reduces the remaining cooldown of your 3 most recently cast spells by 5 seconds. This is important because your Fire Blast is an 8.7-second recharge. So if you're combusting and you're doing Fireball or Combustion, Fire Blast, Fire Blast, Pyro Blast, Fire Blast, Pyro Blast, you're literally resetting your cooldown and you're getting an extra 2 to 3 Fire Blasts, which will entail 2 to 3, possibly 4 extra Pyro Blasts, further spreading that ignite damage, making it hit harder, and your burst is just going to go through the freaking roof. Now, another major thing you're going to need, and I know it's incredibly hard to get, is Azshara's Font of Power. So you have to go into Eternal Palace on Mythic or Heroic. Some people have it on Normal. It's 430 to 445 for the 2 better ones, and it can Titan Forge, where you can get a 450 with a socket, which is ideal, but Mythic Azshara is still very hard to kill. What this does is it gives you 200 crit. That's not the main reason you want it. You want it for basically the 30-second cast or 20-second cast. So you're casting this for like 30 seconds, and basically what it's doing is it is giving you spell power, guys. So it goes all the way up, bam, 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 for 4 seconds. You're casting it, and 2,900 of your primary stat. So the buff stays on you for 30 seconds. When that buff's on you for 30 seconds, this is the only trinket in the game to where it'll have enough time for you to have a 10-second burst cooldown with a second use trinket. So if you're using the badge, which I'll show you guys here in a second, or your Balefire branches, which is the one I really like for Mythic Plus, it's got a shorter cooldown and it's mastery. You're gaining that 4,000 intellect and your 2,900, so you're pretty much looking at 7,000 intellect on your burst just off your trinkets. That's not including your rune of power you're going to use or your berserking ability. That's just, and your world vein resonance, which is another thing we're going to get into. All of those 3 at the same time, you're going to have an insane amount of spell power, increasingly amounts of spell damage, and your ignites are going to go through the roof, guys. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of give you guys a little rotation just to give you guys something to look at. We'll buff with Arcane Intellect, and that's all we're going to use. We're going to do a /DBM pull 20 just to kind of show you guys what's up. I'm going to hit my font. We're going to let that go down, and once it hits right at, we'll say, close to 10 seconds, we're going to kind of start. So 10 seconds going. Going to make sure Rune of Power is on the ground. Going to cast your first Fire Blast. Hopefully you got a proc, and we did. Balefire Branch, Combustion. Make sure you have your World Vein out. Get your Fire Blast going, and just keep jumping and rotating Fire Blast, Pyroblast. And once you get to Scorch, that's what you're going to cast. Guys, we're already up to 130k Ignite ticks. And 270k damage burst. I mean, that's huge. And I kind of sort of, did it slow. So if I would have done it a little more on point, just to the point to see the highest possible outcome on that, like when you're pulling more targets also, that's 270k burst on a single target. Now, the cool thing is when you're doing multiple mobs and you're pulling a whole dungeon full of everything and you get probably between like 4 and 6 mobs, guys, you're going to be the top DPS most likely in your group. One thing that I wanted to go into next is your Heart of Azeroth. So this is where I was talking about the World Vein Resonance. As a main, I prefer this for Mythic Plus specifically. So what it's doing is giving a concentration of energy from the Heart of Azeroth, immediately causing 3 life shards to erupt from a nearby ground for 18 seconds, increasing your primary stat gain from lifeblood shards by 300% for 18 seconds, guys. So the cool thing is each lifeblood shard grants you and another ally using the same essence 365 primary stats. So, and they can keep spawning, guys, maximum of 4, which is insane. You can have pretty much 4, 8, 12, 1600 extra primary stats just off of that proc. So you got 1600 there, 2900 here, 4000 here. You're almost looking at 10,000 extra spell damage, guys, just added on to your opener. So I'll give you a little, for instance, here on the easy training dummy, just to kind of, cheese it a little bit. We'll show the Ajar Font of Power. We'll wait just a second. Give it for the cooldown. It's like 30 seconds. Dun, dun, dun. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We're going to go ahead and cast the first. Get a proc. Drop in your Rune of Power, guys. Combust. Make sure your trinkets out. Pop your big cooldowns. Hit your wrist wraps. And see this, guys? You're just rocking and rolling with changing cooldowns out. I'm already up to, let's see, 120k is what it's pretty much capped at. And guys, for the results on that, let's see, current segment, I was already up to 350k just on those 3 targets, and I forgot the life bomb, guys, or living bomb. I totally cheesed that wrong. So please check that out. Your rotation is going to be at, make sure you 30-second Ajar Fauna Power. Get that rolling right around 5 seconds. Get ready for your starting your fireball precast. Precast that. If you don't crit, no problem. It's just trying to get it so you don't have to save an extra hot streak proc. Then you hit Rune of Power, Combustion, World Vein. Try to link your Combustion and your Trinket on the same cooldown. And just literally start cycling Fire Blast and Pyroblast, jumping up and down. You'll probably get about 6 to 10 of them. Throw a living bomb in there if it's more than 2 targets, and just watch your DPS fly through the roof. Guys, this is Supersnarff. I'm going to drop some information in the link below. If you guys have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. I appreciate your time. Be safe out there.